advantage of doing clinical trials in India. A lot of CROs have moved to India just because the cost of developing drugs in the United States is exorbitant. Today, if you want to develop a drug in the United States, it costs close to $1 billion, and it takes anywhere from 15 years to 20 years. And by that time, the patent expires, so it becomes off patent. So this is a great opportunity for India to tap this potential and take this clinical research services as part of most of our medical institutions. And I'm very glad that Professor Parimal Das with Professor Sujata and Institute of Medicine and science faculty together made this initiative. So this workshop is very important. We all should learn how to do that. And in this sequence, I would also like to add that as you all know that we are developing a discovery center over here, which is a brand new 6-story building, fully air conditioned, 100% power backup. And there, Planning Commission has given us some money for the equipment, and now DST has given money for 125 crore rupees for the equipment. So this place is going to be a state-of-the-art equipment facility, which will not only serve the university, but also to the industry and neighboring institutions. And the plan is that we should try to develop this place more like a drug discovery center, so that we conform to the requirements of, let us say, FDA or NABL or ISO or whatever certifications are needed. We would like to get all of them done, and we would like to run this center in a business-like manner. No like a typical university where one professor buys an equipment and it becomes his property and it is his will and pleasure whether he allows you to use or not. So we want to run in a business-like manner, and the best way to do is to incorporate it as a Section 8 company, and that is what we are going to do. And this Section 8 company will not be run by us. It will be outsourced to another company to run it, rather than we all, instead of doing our teaching and research, we are running around whether an equipment is working or not. So all this facility will be run by an outsourced company, and their job would be to run these machines around the clock. So it will not only work the whole day. If enough work is available, we would like to run it in 2 shifts, 3 shifts, 24/7, whatever. And this will give us the legitimacy that all the data which is produced over here will be acceptable to regulatory agencies. So this is the plan, and I am sure this workshop will sensitize all the scientists and clinicians attending this workshop, and people will be enthusiastic to participate in drug discovery in this discovery center, and there will be more collaborations within Banaras Hindu University, and of course from outside university, and of course from around the world. Anywhere anybody can collaborate with anyone. And as you all know that now we are institution of eminence, so we will have less regulation of UGC. I think we will be able to do many things without going through the typical bureaucracy of UGC, and there we should take full advantage, and next 5 years we should work hard to attain the, the international ranking which we are mandated to. From currently we are around 800, 600 to 800, and we are supposed to cross the mark 500. And if that happens, this 5 years we are going to get about 1,000 crores. And if we cross the mark of 500, we will be getting another 1,000 crores for next 5 years. And if we cross the 200 marks, we will be getting another 1,000 crores. So this scheme is for 15 years. And unless we join hands together, we work in a team spirit, I don't think it can be achieved. So let's work together and make this Discovery Center a success, and this conference, this workshop, a big success. And I feel this is a precursor of our dream for Drug Discovery Center. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best for successful completion of this workshop. And please let me know if I can do anything to make it more successful. Thank you.
Into it, and all of you for coming forward to show your enthusiasm about this training program, because this training program would not be meaningful unless all of you participate actively and enthusiastically in this program, which has been so meticulously designed by Dr. Sucheta together with Dr. Parimal Das. The person behind this right from the beginning is Dr. Parimal Das, who has been pursuing, and we must give a big hand for Dr. Parimal Das for having this program here in Banaras Hind University. I'm sure this is going to impact the research which is relevant to the clinical practices that help in this university. Now, there are a lot of very good researchers who have international impact and fame in the Institute of Medical Sciences and also in Banaras Hind University. We are trying to bring them together to talk to each other because there is a huge untapped potential. This needs to be realized. Some of the faculty members in Institute of Medical Sciences, Institute of Science, they have been interacting at their own level, but we want to institutionalize this, that both the institutes are able to closely interact with each other and contribute not only towards advancement of science, but also making the science relevant to the society, relevant to the people. And today's event, once again, I would like to say, would be a great step forward in that direction. So with these words, I once again welcome you all and sincerely express the thankfulness to all the organizers who have been associated in this event and in the backdrop. Thank you very much.
Institute which you have thought of. I'll not take more time, I'll just give a fast course overview so that all the distinguished delegates who are off the dais would be able to understand what we are going to do in next 2 days. So by the time this is getting organized, I just want to tell you is that this is our 141st program, and more than us, I think so Dr. Ramakrishnan ji now knows our numbers. We were in WHO last week and Global Bionext last week, and we had been working strongly only because of the support of regulators. I think so CDSCO deserves a standing applause and a round of applause because of the support they have offered. And today we have Dr. G.N. Singh with us. Sir, without CDSCO's support and taking this regulatory requirements to the masses, maybe through us or directly, is making difference. And we are able to see this, witness this. Around 13,000 people who have undergone face-to-face program in last 3-4 years or maybe 4-5 years have transformed the way things were happening. So big round of applause to CDSCO, because I think without CDSCO, CDSA is not possible. So that's why we share the first 3 words also, which Dr. G.N. Singh we used to make mention earlier. So Ladies and gentlemen, this is the facility. We are based in NCR Biotech Science Cluster, which is a 200-acre land in the Delhi NCR area. We were created by Department of Biotechnology, Ministry of Science and Technology, and the Government of India on 23rd September 2009. But we began our functioning from 2012. I think so. That was the time I joined there. And we have a very unique theme. Theme of CDSA is to develop an ecosystem for learning, the way we are today here together, work with public sector institutions, private and small medium enterprises to translate innovative technologies into medical products for public good. So when you work with the New Drug Discovery Center, sir, I think so the translation health science will work hand in hand, because you said it's a team effort. Dr. Vishwakarma ji said that we should work as a country together to make it possible. And CDSA is an extramural unit of DHSTI. We are an arm which translates into clinical trials, clinical research. So that arm works here. CDSA has a very unique mandate and a vision. It is the only public agency in the country with a mandate to provide cost-effective, high-quality, not-for-profit, technology-based preclinical and clinical product development, as well as support clinical research through public agencies. So all those trials which are done by UNICEF, WHO, Government of India, we either monitor or we participate actively. So there are no agencies within our DBT, within our ministry, who has similar kind of mandate. So that brings us here. This is our scorecard. This could have been much bigger, because we give only certificates to people who complete the entire 2 days program and complete the exit assessment. That's why the number may be more than 25,000, 30,000, but it has dwindled down because of the numbers we restrict, because we believe quality is by design. If you do not pour in quality, you will not be able to pour out quality. So this is our 141st program. Around 13,000 plus people have taken face-to-face program. We also have an online course launched last year. We map the institutions, faculty and participants. So CDSA is not only of training. We have clinical portfolio department, we have data science, we have regulatory support, statistics, and various other policy centers who help us come up with. So this is the map I was telling, sir, is that this is a national footprint. And if you see by tomorrow evening, a long wish dream of 4 years, 5 years, where Varanasi was red, will turn into green for us. We still have Jammu and Srinagar. So when I saw Dr. Vishwakarma, I just thought of Jammu, which we have been thinking for the last 3-4 years. And Indore, and I think so Nagpur, Indore and Gangtok are in the radar, because we felt there should be greenery across the nation, and that's why we turned red into green once we moved to that place. So we understood that a small team, however capable and vigilant, cannot make such a difference. So we turned out working with the regulatory team to make possible of rolling out of online courses. With ICMR, when the ICMR National Ethical Guidelines were released, we were able to work with them coherently and work for a national dissemination. These programs were free of cost and totally funded by CDSA. So we had covered around 2,500 across nation, north, south, east, west. Similarly, we did for the stem cell research across. So when we launched the course online last year, all credit to, you can see people here, Dr. Sable had been a very, very strong backbone towards launching it. We actually did not inform anyone apart from CDSA. And Dr. Sable is also here to witness that. We were astonished to see 1,700 people registering for online course without even mentioning to even our next door cabin. And it was because of whatever reason it had. And we found that around 13 people scored gold in the exam. And this was launched with NPTEL, National Platform for Technology Enhanced Learning, by the IITs. And when we were working on this, it was really a very good event for us. On 19th March 2019, the new drugs and clinical trial rules were released. And that brought a new era of updating the knowledge. And that's how we were discovered. We also work with our other partners of DBT like BIRAC, National Biopharma Mission, and we work on medical devices and in vitro diagnostics. So we launched 2 courses parallelly on clinical trials as well as medical device and IVDs. That also secretly launched by us as a testing measure, had more than 650 people enrolling for the course. So what happened is this year we have launched the online course. The course starts from 27 January 2020, and the course name is current regulatory requirements for conducting clinical trials in India for IND as well as new drugs, as well as the second course is regulatory requirements for medical devices, including in vitro diagnostics in India. It's called version 2 because the version 1 was already launched last year. So I think we should give a deserving applause to the team of CDSU, especially Dr. Vijay Somani, Dr. DK Sable for making this possible. So this was launched only last Friday at Global Bio. And this is, you can see our DBT Secretary, Dr. Renu Swarupji, Dr. Vijay Somani, who is the President, Drugs Controller General of India, and Dr. Gagandeep Kang, the Executive Director of THSTI, launching this along with the team who had worked with us. So this was just last, and we will send the link to all of this. The program was launched in SWAM portal, swam.gov.in, and we are working towards it. We also have a panel of other online courses coming up. We feel because this courses as that anybody can do this course. Knowledge is free. So anybody of you can do this course. Only if you want to get a certificate, you have to pay. So knowledge is free, you don't have to pay anything. SWAM portal, you can enroll and you can take the course, and the examination will be on 29th March. It has some time limits. You have to pay 1,000 rupees for that. IIT Madras steers this, and it's a proctored exam. So you have to go only with your ID card, and no mobile allowed, no copybooks allowed, and you have to give your own exam and come out back. So we also have assignments. So it's an 8-week course, has 8 assignments, and 4-week course of medical devices, 4 assignments. After this, we are working with other team members on good clinical practice as an online course, good clinical laboratory practice, and good laboratory practice. Because these are the areas of areas where it is our interest. We say good, better, best, never be at rest until your good is better and better is best. So we continue to strive to work towards that. We have been also engaged with WHO, ICMR, NI online course on ethics, and I'm sure that this will come up soon. Also, we had been working with the NITI Aayog for the dissemination of the present regulatory requirements in different areas: phytopharma, medical devices, biopharmaceuticals, new drugs, and various areas. Also, we work with the NGCMA, that's the National GLP Compliance Monitoring Authority, and the DST within our same ministry on GLP across the national series. This is the launch of the clinical trial toolkit, which was designed, devised, developed, and CDSA, and of course CDSO people have contributed. So Dr. Rubina Bose and Dr. DK Sable had contributed along with Sriram Tekechi from the CDSO. So we have a center of excellence, 5 center of excellence, which is KEM Pune, CMC Vellore, JSS Mysore, SAS and New Delhi, and CCDC at New Delhi. So we work with this arm of the clinical medical colleges and clinical research centers. So CDSA also has been blessed to be the part of the quality monitoring agency for India's first comprehensive national nutrition survey steered by UNICEF. And the results were declared around, I think, 29th October 2019 by the ministry. So we have a database of around 25,000 plus approx, and if you want to register in that, email to training.cdsa@thsti will make us reach out to you. So the main course objective of this 2 days course is going to be quite hectic. We have planned for pre-lunch session on all sessions, and the post-lunch session is exercise, because we feel that you will learn better when you get engaged. So please participate, because learning is never a one-way exercise. It has to be two-way exercise. And I feel that CDSA programs are like Maggie. They are different, because you have people who are speaking here have written those. So you have, we feel blessed to have Dr. Nandini Kumar here, who has written almost all the ICMR guidelines on ethicals. I have been a student for her since long and continue to remain a student of hers. You will learn from her what they had thought when they have written the ICMR guidelines. You also have the eminent regulators, Dr. Ramkishan Ji as well as Dr. DK Sable, who will speak about whether it is a regulatory pathway of biosimilars or the new drugs and clinical trial tools, because they have been engaged in writing those regulatory guidelines. Working with the regulators for several years, I have felt the need that what you feel as a normal people is not what the regulators feel. So it's always better to ensure and not assume. So listening from the horse's mouth, I am sure we're going to make a long-term difference to you. So we're going to cover today we have a theme base, today we have a regulation theme. So first sessions will be all by present regulators. I also thank immensely Shri Vinay Gupta Ji, who is your local person here, and he has taken a lot of time. Thank you so much, Dr. Gupta Ji, for coming here. And you can ask all questions during the panel. We have a panel where you can ask all regulatory related questions. We will have a panel for even ethical related questions, question answers forum for GCP. So you should not go home tomorrow evening with any questions unanswered. That's our theme for this entire program. We have no other expectations in return. So overview of GCP will be tomorrow's program. Today we'll do current regulatory requirements covering biosimilar, biopharma, regulatory pathway, new drugs and clinical trial rules. We'll also talk about in the ethics, we'll talk about the ICMR guidelines, and we'll also talk about the accreditations by different agencies for the ethics committees. Tomorrow the theme is the GCP, and we'll talk about the entire area or arena of GCP. So the expectations, as I say, that please talk to faculty during tea, during lunch, and I'm blessed to have Professor Das, Parimal Das, who have been working almost day and night for a long time. Thank you so much, Dr. Das. A round of applause for Dr. Das, because he has taken a lot of pains, and this is the first time CDSA program we are having a cultural program at dinner, and all thanks to you, because we have never conceived that in our plan. So please try to correlate your question. Please ask only related questions, and you can always ask questions off the dais and on the dais. We are always available. And after this program is over also, we do not disconnect. You can keep on writing questions to us. We will try to ensure that the correct answer reaches you. To us, to me, GCP is about ethics and quality. So when you tomorrow go back, I'm sure you'll be able to identify what are the right approaches along with the wrong approaches and minimize all the faults, whether it's positive or negative. So it's a joint goal, ladies and gentlemen, that if you do not work with us, we will not be able to successfully translate this learning into practice tomorrow. So thank you so much, and I wish you happy. It was just not flying. Then the king got very upset, because your mind can see only things which are wrong. Like if you do 99 good things, if you miss that one, people catch only that one thing which you could not do, because our eyes are trained to see only mistakes. So the king got very upset about it. He announced a prize, telling that I'll give you 1,000 gold coins if somebody does it. It was announced, and a villager, a poor villager, a farmer came and told that, can I please try? Wow. Everybody was astonished. Everybody tried, they couldn't do it. What kind of villager, a farmer who appears to be literate can do it? The farmer or the villager went to the falcon, and within few minutes the falcon started flying. Ladies and gentlemen, do you know what the villager did? Anything? What did the villager or the farmer do, the falcon, which the healers, soothsayers, everybody tried, could not do it?
Put it in a position so that it could fly.
It tried to have,
In a position so that it could fly.
it has put it positioned. Yeah, it's a good try.
He made another small bite and ate it.
Huh?
Gave something to eat.
Gave something to eat. We all are waiting for that gave something to eat to work. That is called gajar in Hindi. इसको गाजर दिखाओ, promotion, वो काम करेगा. फिर वो जैसे promotion मिल जाएगा, फिर वो काम करना बंद हो जाएगा. आपको गाजर दिखाते ही रहना पड़ेगा.
Maybe remove it from the comfort zone so that.
Very good. A big round of applause. Have you heard the story? No. So the farmer went and just cut the branch. The moment the branch was cut, the falcon started flying. So we, ladies and gentlemen, we all sit in that comfort zone of that branch, which prevents us from doing what is called good practice. So my request is, whenever you want to do something best or good, try the best. So in industry, they say best practice, because when you aim for best, even if you cannot do something, you at least come to good. So always have this thing in mind, that whenever you come out of your comfort zone, you can make difference. And everybody among us have the power, immense power to make difference. Why this is? Because good clinical practice is not about a few of the principles and guidelines. It is about habit. It is about changing those habits. As a clinician, record keeping is a very big challenge and a habit. If a good clinician becomes a good practices GDP, which is good documentation practice, he or she can excel. So you have to identify the zone where you are weak and come out from this comfort zone. Once you come out, it is not the only you who will make a difference. It is your team. So we all make this difference, that when we win, it's the team which wins. So you have to once you have upgraded yourself, come out from the comfort zone, you will have to help each other come out from that. Because you cannot succeed continuously without those. So the GCP starts with coming out of the comfort zone and changing those habits. I'll show a few 5 minutes film about what it takes to change something, especially when it is tough.
The regulator for approval clearly is indicated as a clinical trial, and that ethics committee which is reviewing such proposals has to be registered with CDSCO. Now, new indication, new drug and all that also may come as academic exercise. In that case, there is no marketing. Remember, regulatory clinical trials is with a marketing objective, commercialization. But academic clinical trials are not for marketing. It's only for academic purposes. And that goes under the purview of the non-regulatory clinical trials. So the ethics committee, which sees such proposals, academic proposals, or you may call it non-regulatory proposals, they have to register with DHR. Is it clear now? The same committee can see both sponsored regulatory clinical trials, or the other may also be sponsored, but it is not for marketing purposes. So that committee will have to register again with both the registries.